Okay, hello everyone. It's nice to see you again. Do we have any questions outstanding? Or anyone has any questions? Okay, no questions, then we continue with our discussion. It's been going on the last few weeks about what the late Chan Master YongHua, great Master YongHua, talked about when he brought his wisdom, Chinese wisdom, to our part of the world. He talked about how our sense organs actually are misleading us into believing that things are so true because they seem to be real to us. We have our sense organs, our eyes, our ears, our bodies can help us reaffirm that the things we touch are for real, because we have feedback from our sense organs that produces feelings, these so-called facts. Okay, that's why we believe these things we see, we observe to be true. All right, so we're on slide 13. Continuing with why he talked, he mentioned that things seem so real to us. Number 5, even without thinking, our awareness can tell us of things. That's called instinct. That's more facts or data to affirm the reality of things. So he says that instinctively, even without thinking, basically when we think of things, they're because they're real to us. Okay, they make things, as the more we think of things, those things become more real to us. And furthermore, it's not the thinking that's misleading us, that's creating delusions, like creating illusions in our mind. It's also the instinct, that is the awareness without processing. Okay, that's what instinct is. Yes, without thinking at all, without any reasoning, without logic, we're just aware. We have this sense, this feeling, and that adds to the thought data that we've been accruing. Okay, so that creates additional layers. Okay, each sense organ creates a layer of so-called truths to us. And so, it's not just the eyes, but also the ears that add more. Thank you very much. Reinforces this sense of reality of things out there. Okay, and another layer called instinct, caused by the awareness without thinking, that further adds more depth, if you will, to this falseness of the impression that created in our mind. Okay. It's very sensitive. And the Buddha's is infinitely wise. He further broke down this reality and these false impressions by that are created in our minds by this ego who decides what's real and what's not real. Okay, it's our ego who labels it as real or unreal. Who else decides it's real? It's us. It's our ego. Okay, and that ego, the ego, the self, is based on 5 types of 5 components. They call heaps, or skandhas in Sanskrit. Skandhas are a pile of things, heaps of things. All right. What are they? On slide 15. And these 5 things are: number 1, form; number 2, feelings; number 3, thinking; number 4, activity; number 5, consciousness. Okay, this is what differentiates Buddhist wisdom from non-Buddhist wisdom. This is what differentiates Mahayana wisdom depth from Hinayana wisdom. Okay? For example, in Hinayana, they can practice meditation. They have various meditation practices where they contemplate the breath, they contemplate kindness, they contemplate impurity, they contemplate stations of mindfulness and so forth. Okay, and in doing those things, they can break through the grip that the ego has upon us, that causes misconceptions, misperceptions about the reality of things. Okay, so in other words, I have friends who are 4th-stage arhats. Okay, they are able. The 4th-stage arhat, what we call, I colloquially call them as 9th samadhi. They can reach a 9th level of samadhi. 8th, below that, 8th level of samadhi is the highest that the non-Buddhists can achieve. That's just the way it is. Okay, for us Buddhists, we measure your level of concentration very precisely. Okay, so it's true with all the spiritual practices. You have in what is called worldly concentration. You can have level 1, 1st dhyana, 2nd dhyana, 3rd dhyana, 4th dhyana, and then you go to 5th samadhi, 6th, 7th, and 8th samadhis. Okay, and that's what they call the first 8 samadhis are worldly concentration, worldly samadhis, because at those level of concentration, of those levels of samadhis, you can understand so much. Okay, just like in school, you can teach people so much depending on their level of abilities. Okay? So same thing here. When you are within the worldly samadhis, you can only understand worldly things. it's no point talking to you about transcendental things. I mean, in Buddhist, transcendental is you get out of this world. You escape this wheel reincarnation, because it takes wisdom for you to be able to escape it. Until then, you are confused. You cannot overcome your delusions. You can talk all you want. You can think that you understand, but you cannot break through. You cannot destroy the grip that the delusions have on you. Okay, so that's why the non-Buddhists, they can reach up to eighth level samadhi. And that's very impressive already. They can let go a lot of things. The reason you cannot break through is because you cannot let go of those attachments. The attachments are created because this false perception of reality. Okay, you say, this is real. I don't believe you. My car is real. My house is real. My child is real. Okay? Money is real to me. Okay? Who are you, who's beggar, telling me that money is not real? It's not real to you because you have none. It's real to me because I have plenty of it. I make a lot of it every month. Okay? So you can't tell me that money is not real. Okay? So that's why the more real things are to you, it's because behind it, you have some heavy attachments that you cannot let go. You cannot transcend. All right. So as you get higher level of samadhis. These attachments are destroyed. That's why you have fewer and fewer attachments. However, as you get higher, the attachments are much harder to break through than at lower levels. Okay, so for example, 8th level samadhi. Okay, they let go of so many things already. And I cite for you. I like to cite these. You go to the Indian ashrams, and you visit these beautiful cultivation places in India, where a lot of tourists flock, and you see these Indian gurus sitting on the sides, on the sidewalk here with the hair in the turban, okay, long hair, coiled in the turban, and look at them, look into their eyes, okay? It's like you look into empty space. Anyone ever experienced that? Oh, you guys are so boring. Never been to India? Oh my God, what do you do with your money? Oh. Well, it's the same with me as well. I have better things to do with my money than go to an ashram. But the reason I describe it to you because I saw them on these PBS documentaries. It's fascinating to me when I was younger, looking at these people. I said, what are they doing? Isn't it a waste of life? But no, they're doing it because they have wisdom. They're not attached to worldly things as we are. They are not attached to houses. That's why they're perfectly happy living by this side street. They're not attached to Chinese food because they can perfectly get by with whatever people give them to eat. Okay? They're not attached to flavors. I cannot live without Neapolitan pizza. Okay? That's my attachment. So You see, so these 8th level samadhi, this level is where they let go so many things already because they experience what we call emptiness. You cannot, emptiness, if you see something is empty, then you're able to let go of it because it's not a big deal. It's really empty inside. Fundamentally, it's empty. So there's nothing to attach to. So these 8th level samadhi people are so, they're so wise. They can let go of so many things. Okay? However, they have minute attachments. They're not even aware of them as attachments. And that's why the 8th level samadhi is so difficult to break through. Until the Buddha Gautama, Buddha came along in India and used his profound wisdom to convince these 8th level samadhis, those Hindus, those shramanas, Indian shramanas, that they still have attachments, and that's how these practitioners followed the Buddha's instructions, and they're able to break through, and they reach higher levels than 8th samadhi. Go ahead, Wei Mountain. Thank you for waiting.
3 questions. The first one from Alta D. In my meditation yesterday, I saw green dragons. Master, what does this mean?
Green dragons? Are they fire-breathing dragons? Or are they poison spitting dragons? Okay.
We'll have to wait to hear back from him. The next question is from Christopher L. Master, it's hard enough to enter first dhyana for some, even when you meditate daily. Is there anything you can advise to help us achieve samadhi levels faster?
How do you know you're not entering first dhyana? Okay. Each person is different. In general, there's no fixed rules for you to enter samadhi. Basically, you follow the instructions, you follow the schedule, you will enter first dhyana fairly easily. I used to be obsessed about that when I first started, because I realized that first dhyana is very, very important demarcation, and that helps you detach from worldly things. Okay, but there's no clear instruction on how to enter first dhyana, and so I struggle a lot. I struggled, and I asked around from my late Chinese teachers' pupils, these monks and nuns. I asked, how do I enter first dhyana? And they couldn't give me any answers. So I looked into the Taoist practices. I was a novice already, and I had to go into the Taoist practices to look for more information how to enter samadhi, enter first dhyana, because they sell themselves as having systematic and advanced meditation techniques. And since the Buddhist monks cannot tell me any really systematic or advanced meditation techniques, so I had to go to the Taoist. I looked as well. And it's because people were confused. The teacher don't understand samadhis, they don't recognize the samadhis. That's why they cannot give you instructions on what to do. But if you want to enter first dhyana, the rule of thumb is very simple. Okay, there's no magic to it. Okay, for most of us, we enter first dhyana because we have blessings. If you have blessings, you meditate, you will enter first dhyana automatically. Isn't that interesting? And that came from the Buddhist teachers, from Buddhist patriarchs. I found that out later, years later, when I started teaching. I had the same question, the same thing. I said, now I'm teaching meditation. How do I help people enter first dhyana? So I had to dig from the teachers, from the Buddhist teachers, who better than the Buddhist patriarchs, the Chan patriarchs. Finally, I stumbled upon a piece of information and said, oh, that's what happened to me. That's what happened to a lot of people in my meditation classes. They somehow managed to accrue a lot of blessings, and then boom, they enter first dhyana. Okay, so that's why part of our Chan classes is, as you go to class or you attend these sessions and you listen to the Dharma talks, you sit with us, you, in particular, if you struggle with your sits, okay? If you struggle with sitting in full lotus, you know what that really means? It really means if you keep on struggling to get into full lotus, you keep struggling to sit longer in full lotus and longer, you are creating blessings. And you're creating blessings, and you keep on sitting, boom, one day you enter first dhyana. So the more blessings you create, the quicker you enter first dhyana. Okay, that's point number one. Point number two, once you enter first dhyana, okay, you can enter it anytime, okay? You enter naturally. You don't need to say, I wish I could enter first dhyana again. That's not necessary, okay? Because when you meditate, once you enter what level of samadhi you meditate, you will, it's like an elevator. You will be able to access them again. Okay? So you don't have to say, oh, I wish I could go to floor number 8. You've been there before. Okay? So eventually you sit there, eventually you enter number 8. Okay? So now, after you are able to enter dhyanas and samadhis, that process is natural. Then you develop the understanding or the technique to be able to more consistently enter or access these levels. Okay? So that's why stop worrying about entering dhyanas and samadhis and so forth. Okay? And because if you follow the training here, the Chan training here, I admit it's kind of demanding for most of you, and kind of nonsense for most of you, because it doesn't make sense for most of you. It's not supposed to make sense for most of you. Okay? And that's how rough, how tough the Chinese training really is. Traditionally, Chinese Chan training is very, very tough. They tell you, sit. You move, I will beat you up. You don't like it, get out of here. This is not for you. Very Chinese, you know. You're not supposed to play video more than 2 hours a day. Okay, that kind of culture. Am I? Yes, recently. That's how they teach the people, and I love it, by the way. Okay, leaders are supposed to set the standards because they care. Okay, yes, you may disagree with their understanding, their wisdom, and so forth. But to me, you get up there, you're supposed to do something for your people. You don't just. And I disagree with that, by the way. Okay, but I'm not Chinese, so I don't understand the Chinese thinking. Okay? But I disagree with that. Kids playing 2 hours of video, let them play 10 hours. I can't care less. Okay, let them find out for themselves. There's nothing wrong with that. Let them make mistakes, and then we teach them. Don't be so overprotective. Let them mess around. Let them, let them. But as parents, you have to pay attention. You have to watch them. Let them make mistakes. And then when they get exasperated, when they get afflicted, okay, that's when you teach them. Until then, you ignore them. You just let them be. Let them explore what interests them. Okay? So that's why I disagree with the 2 hours, but I agree with the fact as a leader, you're supposed to put your stamp on your people and say, this is what I believe is good for you. That is what a good leader is supposed to do. Okay? In contrast, in our world, our leader stuffs his pockets. Give me more campaign money so that I can pay my hotels. I can get you to rent my hotels, and I collect rent on that. And now that I no longer in the office, I can't force you to come to my hotels anymore. What kind of leader is that? It's terrible. Okay, the leader doesn't care. Okay, whereas the other guy cares, but a little bit misguided wisdom. Don't harm me. Don't hurt me. Okay, I just have a big mouth. I'm really harmless. So it's okay to I don't know how we got into politics again. Where were we? First Yana. Okay. Well, I lost interest in First Yana. Okay. Third question. Go ahead, Wei Mountain Temple.
Altadi responded, he said they looked like good dragons. They were very big.
Chinese green dragons? Red.
Just commenting because it's interesting that in the Western culture the dragons are evil and they do fires, but in Chinese culture I think the dragons they don't really spit out fires, right? They more like control rains, and it's a different, although they are called dragon, but they're different.
Really? You Chinese people love dragons? Is that why you have dragon boat racing?
I think dragons they're not evil. They're powerful. They can do things.
Yeah, it's Chinese wisdom, which is more based on reality because of the Buddhist wisdom influence. Okay, the Westerners is more like a legend, more like.
Because my kids are like.
I guess they have more
the
of
school,
their imaginations.
Yeah, there's the
to sell books and to
slaying
sell
dragons, all that. It's different.
Yeah, and to sell Game of Thrones and stuff like that. I love that series. What are you laughing at? I mean, that's culture. Go ahead, Wei Mountain.
Second question from Christopher L. Master said to let go of attachments. How do we know what attachments we need to let go?
Oh, that's a question of the $64,000 question. Okay? How do you know which ones? The ones that are harmful to you. Okay? The ones that are most harmful to you at that moment. What? I'm sorry, use the microphone, please.
Just asking for Auto D about the green dragon.
Yes.
Because I interrupted, so maybe, Master, you haven't really answered.
Because of what? I can't hear you.
I interrupted your answer to Auto D.
What about green dragons?
Yeah.
I personally never saw any green dragons, so I don't know how to answer him. Andreas is kind of different. So he sees things differently than I do. So I don't know how to help him. Sometimes Andreas asks me a lot of questions. I can't identify where you're coming from. I need to eat more tacos and burritos. The food actually has an influence on your perception of things, believe it or not. Anyway, I'm kidding. If you see green dragons, they're real, they're friendly, good. Get the business card. What's the big deal? You see some, seen dragons. I've seen demons. I've seen ghosts. So what? You just see them. So it doesn't mean anything at all. So don't be attached to your visions, to what you see. Okay? And that's number one right there, form. Okay? When you meditate and you see things, so basically it's form. It's, and therefore it causes illusions, it causes confusions to you. Okay? Don't be attached. Okay? Does it help? All right. And finally, as a reminder, let me stress to you that the development of samadhis, your improvements, so that the general rule of thumb is try to improve. Okay. Keep on improving, and you see how profound your inner strength, how limitless you really are in terms of being able to improve. You keep the improvement is limitless. Okay, don't let anyone tell you otherwise. Okay, I don't say that I'm not Chinese and therefore it's so much I can do. Okay, forget it. We should tell ourselves we're better than the Chinese. Now we learn from the Chinese, you should be better than they are. Why not? Because they abandoned it, we're not. Anyway. So samadhi development is something that's infinite. You keep on improving. That should be the direction. Okay, but don't insist on I need to develop this, develop that, enter this, enter that. That will happen naturally. There's no need to be greedy. When is it going to happen? It will happen when you have the need to do it, then it will happen. When you have no real need, don't worry. It's not a value to you. Okay? It naturally develops. For example, when I was practicing meditation by myself, I was unfortunate. Didn't have enough blessings, so I couldn't find anyone to guide me in doing Chan meditation. It bothered me. These people were much better than I was, and they're supposed to guide me. And all I wanted to do is just give me some information. Okay, I spent a lot of time meditating, so tell me I'm doing it right, at least. Okay. But no, I couldn't find anyone who can tell me, who can assure me it's okay and I shouldn't worry about those things. So I ended up having to experiment. I did a lot of experimentation. Okay, in other words, I did a lot of things that are wrong. Until I realized that they're wrong, I keep on doing. I kept on trying this and trying that, and I would stop once I realized it's the wrong way. So I have a wealth of experiences. What you're going through right now, what you tell me, I actually went through a lot of that myself because I had to explore. Okay. And one of the things that I finally came upon was, I said, how do I know that actually I improve? Okay? So it doesn't matter. If I explored, eventually I found the right thing to do it, fine. It's a good, eventually it's going to happen. There's so many things you could try. In full lotus, you can try, for example, at the shallow full lotus, you put it at the front, then you go back and further in. So many variations you can do, okay? And your back, you could be straight, like some totally misguided disciple of his forced me to sit and straighten my back like a wood board, okay? And I did that, and it hurt so much. And I said, this is the right way. Don't be such a wimp. Don't complain. So I endured the pain until it went away. Then I realized, this is nonsense. I conquered it. Yes, I sat for straight like that, and until the pain went away. But then it's nonsense. Because what you're doing in meditation is not about physical thing. Meditation is not about, building your back muscles. It's a different discipline. So why would you meditate and you go like this? Eventually your back looks like Arnold Schwarzenegger's back. It's just totally wrong to me. So that's why I dropped it. I said, no, that's a wrong approach. Wrong guy, I don't listen to his teachings anymore. So it helped me undo a lot of the wrong things I learned from him. But the one constant was that it doesn't matter what I tried, but as long as it helped me improve the next level, that's very, very important to me. Otherwise, I would be meditating without, like navigating, rowing a boat without rudder. There's no direction. I have to be in the right direction. That's all I ask for. I can waste time, but as long as on my own, but I need to know I'm improving. That's all I care about. And so I had to look for information too. Look at sutras, look at materials, and finally, naturally, because this desire, this deep desire, I demanded myself. I need to be able to recognize it. So over the years, I was able to recognize the samadhi levels. So my point here is that the skills you develop in meditation will happen naturally out of needs. And that's what the Buddha taught to. Okay? You want to have these skills, it's because of needs. If you don't have needs, what do you have them for? Okay? So these skills will happen naturally. You don't have to be greedy. Okay? You don't have to if you have real needs, you will develop them. Okay, it's no need to be greedy. Okay, at all. Does it help? So there's no need for you to say that I must enter first dhyana today, or I must enter ninth level of samadhi today. You get there already, you enter it naturally. Now it's about, as over the time, as you keep practicing, go through this, you will figure out how to do it yourself. Okay? The things that will let you develop for yourself, discover for yourself, because that's part of your bag of tools you need for your journey. So each person is different. All right? It's not the purpose of this is not the real reason why we teach you meditation is for you to develop these powers, these abilities. It's for you to unfold your wisdom. Okay, with wisdom, your skills will better serve you. The Chan Buddhist meditation ultimately is to help you unfold your inherent wisdom, your true wisdom, so that you will not be confused. You will not be deluded by external things. You're not deluded. You're not manipulated by your own egos. Okay? So this ego thing here is you don't have any real wisdom until you're able to break through your ego. All right? And that's the gold standard. You practice meditation. Ultimately, the first significant milestone is for you to break through your ego, to put an end to the self, to be able to deactivate the self when necessary. Because the self is a troublemaker. The self is a demon in the house. Okay? That's the Buddha's wisdom, not mine. The Buddha says, as long as you have the self, the demons is with you. You cannot trust that self. Okay? So that's why in 42 section sutra in 42 section sutra, and the Buddha says, specifically, he says, do not trust yourself. The self cannot be trusted. He repeated, don't trust yourself. The self cannot be trusted. But what do we do now? In modern times, we only trust ourselves and money, number two. Okay? One, you trust yourself. Number two, you trust money. You're totally confused. Okay? And number three, you trust, your leader. It's so wrong. Unless your leader has real wisdom, you shouldn't trust your leader either. Yes, go ahead, Red.
I just want to make a comment. I think nowadays you hear people always talking about discover yourself, your own voice, or discover yourself. You should trust yourself. That's where you should. Instead of the narrative is more like instead of trust the society or instead of pursuing materialist goal, pursuing following your heart, right? Like that's the what people are being taught to be aspire to do. I think maybe what they're talking about when they're thinking about this is more like trust, like it's more referring to trying to find your instinct, in your intuition, like what you have been explained recently, and then follow your intuition. I think that's what they're trying to say. But then maybe without the wisdom, they don't really.
Is that what they're really trying to say? Diane, what do you think? You agree with that or not? I don't think so. Let me influence Diane a little bit. I'll influence Diane's self a little bit. You agree with what she just said? Black.
Oh, well, thank you for asking. I just am not so concerned with that. No disrespect.
What are you concerned about?
Well, just I mean that's an interesting point that you're making.
This is what's important to people. Repeat your point again.
I just think that they think.
Trust yourself. Yes. Trust yourself. It's
Right.
the teaching. This is a wisdom. The word wisdom is you have to trust yourself. You have to trust your instinct. You have to trust your logic. You have to trust your.
No. I think there's that very popular narrative is like you should find your inner voice, right? Like find your true self, like something kind of like deep, right? That's what a lot of spiritual or spiritual movement is about, right? So there's that. I think what they're trying to say is something more about connect with your instinct or intuition, but they cannot do that because they don't have the right,
they're talking about their spiritual self, whatever that is.
Yeah, but that's actually still your ego. It's just the late.
Okay, so sir, I'm pretty clear that I'm causing my own suffering, and it's because of these heaps of things. I went to a teaching on the paramitas, and they were talking about the skandhas. It's like oceans. Each of those 5 is like an ocean of elements. So I'm pretty clear that that my ignorance is, I'm just confused about the nature of reality. And I can appreciate that there's a message, I guess, societally and in media to trust thyself and find your purpose and these good things, and that's great. But I'm concerned with dismantling the system in place, the process in place that causes me suffering, because I know that will make me a less harmful person. Then maybe I have a chance to do some great good.
Okay, but for young people like Anthony, your scientific training, your logical training is that you have to trust yourself. You have to trust your thing, your mind. Yes, and that's your reality.
Okay, but so when I'm practicing this way, then I have I'm more centered, and then the clouds of my projections, and that we have a sympathetic nervous system, fight, flight, or freeze. My first impulse, if I see someone sometimes, is ill will. What's that person? But then we have the sympathetic nervous system, which is rest and reset. I can use my intelligence. I've only been here a short time, but you've talked so wonderfully about how people have instinct and these great leaders and tech geniuses. They're not relying on all this formulating and, thinking and whatever. They just sort of know if I'm centered and I'm operating and training myself to be in the parasympathetic nervous system, I have a better chance of acting in a true way, which is my true self.
You too, Buddhist. You too, like a little bit wacko. I mean, excuse me.
You know what? That's okay, because you know what? I'm centered
like
in this. I'm clear on this. I'm clear on this.
Yeah, you're not like a normal person. We all love money. We all love food. We all love love. All those things. That's normal. Okay, that's what she's referring to. Yes? And then these salespeople, they said, you should look for your inner self. You look for your spiritual self. You look for, that will make you happier. You see? It's because they're preying our unhappiness. So it's a sales pitch, that's all. A new age thing or whatever, okay? It's just like what comes to mind, new age thing. I have a good friend who's into new age, and she buys crystals like crazy. And it's understandable, okay? You should, because people are the people who turn to that. In like Diane, for example, she says, I'm unhappy. That's basically the premise is that this does not make me happy. Whatever I know so far doesn't make sense to me anymore, okay? And this new thing here seems to have more potential. But it's also words, my friend. It's only words. They're only projections. Even these Buddhist things they call the 5 heaps or the selflessness or 9 samadhi, basically are sales pitches. Let's face it. Until you get there, it's just concepts. They're nothing. So what? the needle points to the north. Well, so what? I'm still here. This is real to me. To me, real is Getty Museum. Why can't I just have the reality of things and, live in the midst of this and still be able to embrace it? You don't need to reject it. And that's Buddhist wisdom. It's perfectly okay to play video games for 10 hours, 20 hours. I don't need to reject it. As long as it helps me open my wisdom. It helps me learn. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong having bad friends. Nothing wrong with, as long as I learn from it. Don't be so scared. It's okay to make mistakes. As long as we have a way to recover. As long as we can learn from it. I'm different from you because I have no standards. I had to experiment and fail until I was, instead of going straight like you, as I said, this is north, go north. I didn't know what north was, so I was going like this, like every single day. Until I said, it doesn't work this way, let's try this way, let's try this way. And Chungin Sunim, who's now at the funeral service, he says, it's so confusing. It's waves everywhere. It's misdirections everywhere. I said, great, that's life. Embrace it. Why are you afraid of the ocean? If you're scared of it, jump into the ocean until you're no longer scared. Most normal people, they play video games for 10 hours. I used to do that. 22 hours, I used to do that. 24 hours, I used to do that. Days, I used to do that. And look at me. I became a monk eventually. It helped me become a monk. Huh? Why are you so afraid of? Okay. Yeah. You need 2 hours if your people are weak. They can't help themselves. Yes, it's good for some kids who are weak. Okay? But by helping those people, imposing that rule on everyone, you actually are not helping the one who are capable of developing through explorations. Okay? So that's why there is this balance you need to strike. Okay? Yes, Way Mountain.
Charles is asking, why do we want wisdom? For what?
Want wisdom for the sake of getting something that's cool. Wisdom is a cool thing in Buddhism. Now, Buddhism is that if you have wisdom, then you're a cool dude. If you don't have wisdom, then you're a confused dude or dudette. Okay? Yeah. Yes, Wei Mao.
Alta D is asking, who do I trust if I can't trust myself?
It's like they're never happy, these people. You tell them, give them a tip already, they say, don't trust yourself. They say, give me more. I mean, how? I mean, it's so greedy. When you hear people, when you hear the Buddha say, don't trust yourself, you say, oh yeah, thank you so much. I will learn not to trust myself. Okay? That's half the equation already. Before, Altadi says, I only trust myself because it's real. Yes? I move to living further north because it's closer to where people I can trust. Okay? That's better already. You see that? There's some others who have more wisdom than me, therefore it's a good direction. Okay? You see? But the premise is that don't trust yourself. Ultimately, there's some people who have more wisdom than you, and you can trust those people. But for that to happen, the first thing you have to do is not trust yourself. When push comes to shove, you cannot trust yourself until you have no more ego. That's incredible wisdom. That's a gift right there. So it's okay to trust yourself, to play videos, to go for Neapolitan pizza and have a red car, buy a house. It's normal. Live, for God's sake. You're not a sage. It's okay to live like a normal person. Not like Diane said, no, this is not me. I'm better.
That is not what I meant at all.
Okay.
That is not what I meant at all.
It's just like it sounds like you say, oh, I know better and all, and then this is real, this does make me happy. It's true.
No, I'm certain I know nothing. Pretty clear.
Now I'm speechless. I have nothing else to tell her.
Please teach me. I'm getting so much. Thank you. I so appreciate this.
I'm trying and making fun of you, okay? Just because you know, it doesn't mean you should talk like that, because people are going to think that, oh, she's going to walk, we can't connect with her anymore. See, I talk red cars, I talk a house, I talk food, because that's what people can identify with. How are you going to connect with people? Okay? Wisdom doesn't mean we disconnect from them. Like the Hinayana said, I have wisdom, you don't have it, and stay away from me. That's not wisdom. Okay? That's not true wisdom. Wisdom to be able to embrace others' stupidity, to be able to embrace others' unhappiness. Otherwise, the wisdom you have by distancing yourself from things that are undesirable, it's called what? Fear. It's not wisdom. What are you afraid of? Video games? Seriously? You invented video game, now you're afraid? We invented video games, and now we're afraid of video games? Heck no. If we invented it, we are the master. Okay? So wisdom is a cool thing. As cool thing is you able to embrace the ugliness as well as the wonders of life, so that you can enjoy the wonders of life, you can enjoy beauty. At the same time, you can also tolerate the ugliness, the selfishness, the cruelty, the violence. Okay? And that's called wisdom. You can embrace it all. You don't have to be afraid. Okay? You can even embrace yourself. You say, okay, today I will unleash myself. Go ahead, confuse me with forms, with feelings, with thinking, with activity, with pizza. Why? Because this is important to my children. Huh? My nephew, my nieces, they love pizza. And I say, no, I have wisdom, you don't. Then how we connect with our family, with our loved ones? Because they're confused like hell. And we say, no, you're confused. I have wisdom. Stay there. Okay. Way Mountain.
Master, there's a question. I was listening to Venerable YongHua Ta Fang Quang Fo Hua Yin Qing, and then there's episode 596. He asking his student, what is 怎么怕,怎么不怕,怎么畏,怎么无畏,你们知道吗? I would just want to ask Master for the answer for it.
Well, he gave you the answer already. Why do you ask me? You want me to make a fool of myself? I can't embrace that. I can embrace people's stupidity, but I cannot embrace my stupidity. And this guy is dangerous. He's going to let me expose my stupidity. So he read the answer of Master YongHua already in Chinese. You know, Master Hsuan is my teacher. He has all the wisdom in the world right now. All the wisdom in this world is with Master YongHua, okay? It's not here in our temple. Okay, so why should I take a chance? Nice try. Okay. Well, I'm not biting today. Yes, Way Mountain. Way Mountain, by the way, young man, is on that screen right there. That's a big room with a lot of space and no one there. I don't know why we bother. I'm going to downsize to this size here when I get back to Los Angeles. Okay. See, we barely use 1/5 of it. All of them can fit nicely here and in this space. Save yourself a lot of grief and a lot of interests, mortgage interests. Yes, go ahead.
Good morning, Master. This is Bosco. When we have been walking on the wrong path for years and years, like addiction and depression, and at the same time don't know about Buddhism, how can we help them?
How can you help those people? How can you help them? How can we help them? It's a different question. If you include me, I don't know. I defer to Master YongHua. Go to his Chinese explanations. Okay? How you can help them? You can help them by becoming enlightened. Until then, know your limitations. That you can help so much. Don't be so sure yourself that you have all the answers. This is a problem. The comment earlier about the New Age thing and you try spiritual things, what you don't realize is actually those things are creations from a demon to add one more layer of confusion to our lives. And that's why I use Diane's to make a point. That is, these concepts are just talk, okay? That knowledge, is wrong, it's not making me, that's like something better. It's all still talk, okay? In Buddhism, especially in Buddhism, you have, it's a two-step, okay? Like a dance, it's a two-step. I prefer the tango, but we use two steps for today. Okay, the first is to recognize our confusion, our lack of wisdom, because of this ego thing here that's confusing us. As long as this ego is still present, the demons can very easily manipulate us. I don't care how smart you are, how brilliant you are, even if you are a genius. The demons can easily manipulate your ego. That's why the Buddha says, don't trust yourself, because for that reason. You can be smart, you can be right, but at the same time, the demon can still manipulate you or mislead you. In a split second, you cannot tell the difference. That's why you cannot trust yourself. Okay, you're right, and so forth. But there's one split second when you're wrong. That's when you know everything. Your whole life unravels, and everything goes wrong. Okay, you do the wrong things, and then you destroy yourself. And you create unhappiness, not only for yourself, but the people around you who depend on you. So you should not trust yourself. Okay, don't bet your life on your ego. Don't be so sure you know. Okay, and in fact, once you reach the 9th level of samadhi, okay, that's when it gets even more tricky. And so finally, I will stop here today by reminding you, finally answering the question: you don't trust yourself, who do you trust? Let me answer the two-step phase first, two-step thing first, two-step dance first. Number one is to learn to recognize there's an ego here. You should not trust yourself, okay? And you should, in particular, not trust your knowledge, okay? All these concepts, all these words, okay? What I talked to you for the last hour are simply words. But what you don't realize is, why do you spend an hour talking to you? To give you words, the good words, if you will. You hear the good words. But you sit in full lotus, except for some. Okay? That's the hope, is that when you come here long enough, that you look around you and say, wait a minute, they're all sitting in full lotus for an hour. Okay, so we sit an hour in full lotus, and then we talk, and you sit another hour in full lotus. So actually in our classes, you sit for 2 hours in full lotus. Okay? And that's why you progress so quickly. You work harder than others. Okay? So struggle. Okay? Don't be lazy. No, I work hard enough the first hour. Second hour, I'm going to take it easy. Okay? So you learn the Buddha's teaching is simply words that the Chan classes and all our instructions are designed to help bring you there yourself, so that you verify these words for yourself. It's not about words. It's one words for you to know that it's the right direction. Okay? You go in the right direction or not. That's the right direction. Go towards selflessness. Go towards kindness. Go towards compassion. Okay? That's the right direction. Don't go towards me. Okay? Don't go towards self-indulgence. Okay? Don't go towards worshiping money and profits and fame. That's a wrong direction. Okay? So the same direction is important. Yes, it's perfectly normal to look for money because we need to support our family. We need to be filial to our parents. Being filial is not just opening our mouth. You have to offer them things, provide them with things that they need. Okay? But so we need to know what's proper, what's right, and what's wrong. Okay? That's from these words of wisdom from people who have real wisdom, like the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. So that's step number one. Listen to those. We speak to you for an hour is to dispel those false notions you have and remind you of those words of wisdom. That's all. I have no wisdom. Okay? Number two is much more important. Is for you to get there and verify it. For you to develop the samadhi so that you can verify these words of wisdom. Until you have samadhi, you will not be able to understand what they really mean. All we can do is point you in the direction, and then you have to get there yourself. There's a lot more we cannot tell you, because we tell you, you don't understand anyway. So that's the difference between Buddhist teaching and non-Buddhist teaching. Non-Buddhist teaching, it's a sales pitch. They sound better and better, they sound more wonderful, so that it fills up their collection boxes, which is not a bad thing after all. Okay? But for us, it's about you verifying it, you seeing for yourself things that we cannot describe to you. So Buddhist teachings, Buddhist instructions for you to cross the threshold right there. Okay? Go through that door so that you see what's really inside, what you really like, not just words. And then you say, then you'll be able to embrace it. Questions, comments? Okay, so practically speaking, in terms of action items, when push comes to shove, don't be so sure. Don't trust yourself that blindly. You say, no, I'm smarter, I have a PhD, I have more success, I have more money, I'm more famous than you, and so forth. That's trusting yourself. Don't trust yourself so much. Okay. Instead, trust the sages. Trust the wise. Trust people who have wisdom. Okay? Because they're not as confused as we are. So they don't make mistakes the way we do. All right, stop here today. Thank you.